probably only going to be here for at least an hour. I've only made my few changes. Hey, but good afternoone. First, I want to thank the Greater Palm Bay Chapter of Commerce for hosting this luncheon and recognizing a milestone that, frankly, many Americans overlook, but none of us should. 250 years in the United States Army. I currently serve as Commanding General of the Wyoming National Guard, and I'm proud to say that while I serve monthly in Wyoming, I call the Space Coast home. This community is full of energy, innovation, and what seems to be a disproportionate number of Air Force, Space Force, and Navy veterans. I often feel outnumbered, but sometimes I have to remind them, just as Sergeant Major did, there would be no Space Coast without the Army. And as we said, that was the first. Cape Canaveral was established as a intercontinental ballistic missile launch facility, which we then turned over to the Army Air Corps, now known as the Air Force, unfortunately. But since then, NASA made it famous. But at that time, the Army was pushing the boundaries of technology of reach and deterrence on behalf of our nation. But let's get back to business here. The Army began June 14th, 1775. Small band of patriots, ordinary citizens, the Continental Army, to stand against the greatest military empire in the world. Since that day, across every major conflict and crisis in our nation's history, the Army has shown up. In 1778, we adopted a motto, and that motto's never changed: "This will defend." It's written on the Department of the Army emblem, but more importantly, it's written on the hearts of every soldier who's ever stood a post, manned a turret, or walked point on a patrol. It means we stand for something, that we don't yield. But this celebration for 250 years isn't just about honoring history. It's a reminder of our present reality, a signal of where we're headed. The Army's still engaged in combat operations. Right now, one of my own units from Wyoming, the 115th Field Artillery Brigade, Task Force Thunder, serving alongside the 3rd of the 116th Field Artillery Battalion from the Florida National Guard in the CENTCOM area of operations in the Middle East. These citizen soldiers left their jobs, businesses, and families to step into harm's way. They're your neighbors, your co-workers, and your friends. While they carry out the mission, the Army is an institution that's undergoing one of the most ambitious transformation initiatives in its 250-year history. We're modernizing our force for future conflicts, not just with new equipment, but with new doctrine, formations, strategies to succeed across multiple domains. From hypersonic weapons to cloud-based command systems, from project convergence to talent management. The Army is making a strong pivot to stay prepared for a rapidly evolving threat landscape. We are changing how we fight, train, develop leaders, and how we care for our soldiers and families. Florida Space Coast will provide an essential role in this transformation. The innovation businesses here, from aerospace contractors, tech startups, defense manufacturers, to research firms, are already partnering with the Army to develop the technologies and capabilities of tomorrow. Your expertise in space systems, advanced manufacturing, and capability and emerging technologies directly support the Army's modernization efforts. The same innovation that launches rockets into space is helping propel the Army into our next chapter. I just want to say thank you for that. So, typically you get the remarks according to Ed on some of these things, but I felt it most appropriate here to mark this historic moment. The Command Sergeant Major Manzanares of the 115th Field Artillery Brigade Headquarters to commemorate the Army's 250th. All deployed soldiers in Task Force Thunder were able to compete in an essay writing contest. You're like, oh my God, I'd have never thought in a combat zone writing an essay, but soldiers have time now. I don't know whether it's ChatGPT, but it worked for them. But they titled it, just in our motto, "This will defend." But really asking soldiers, what does that mean to you? So today I really wanted to share the winner's essay with you because it really struck me. And honestly, the soldiers' words are more compelling than anything I can convey to y'all on this 250th. So, from Staff Sergeant Brett Tillery, who's a soldier with headquarters company, battery, sorry, Field Artillery in the room, y'all can punish me later. He's deployed, he's in Jordan currently. last time. But anyway, he starts out with this. The Army's motto, "This will defend," is more than just a phrase stitched onto a patch or carved into a wall. It's a solemn vow, a promise that transcends generations in my family. To me, it is the foundation of why I wear the uniform each day. It's not just about service or duty. It's about protecting the people I love and the values that define our great nation. When I think of this motto, I think about my wife, my children, and the millions of American families whose safety depends on our willingness to stand guard. I think of the tragedies that remind us of why we serve. For me, it's the terrorist attacks of September 11, 2001. On that fateful day, the world watched in horror as terrorists struck the World Trade Center, the Pentagon, and attempted a third attack that brave citizens thwarted on Flight 93. Thousands of innocent lives were lost in a matter of hours. I was 11 at the time. Not me, of course, as you can see by my hairline does not resemble that. I was 11 at the time, but the images from that day are seared into my memory. The towers collapsing, people running through ash-covered streets, firefighters, police officers charging towards danger without hesitation. It was a wake-up call for our nation, a defining moment for me. That day revealed the true cost of freedom and ever-present threats that exist beyond our borders. In the aftermath of 9/11, the words "this will defend" took a new meaning for many Americans. For my family, it meant my father would sacrifice 8 years in Afghanistan and Iraq. My two brothers would serve 11 years on active duty with 6 deployments. And for me, it marked the beginning of a lifelong commitment. I realized defending our nation wasn't just an abstract concept. It meant standing ready to confront real and present dangers, even if it meant putting my own life on the line. And enlisting in the Army was my way of answering that call. For the past 11 years, I've served and protected my community as a law enforcement officer. Serving in the Army is not easy. It demands sacrifice, discipline, and a willingness to endure hardship. But I do it with pride because I know who I'm doing it for. Every time I lace up my boots or hoist my gear, I think of my wife and children. They're the reason, my strength, and my motivation. This will defend is not just about protecting America as a whole. It's about protecting the everyday lives of the people we love. It's about making sure our children can go to school without fear, and that our soldiers can sleep peacefully at night, and that our homes remain safe and free. When I see the American flag waving in the wind, I see the faces of my loved ones reflected in its colors. I see the strength of a nation that refuses to back down. The terrorists who attacked us on 9/11 wanted to destroy that strength. Instead, they ignited a fire in the hearts of countless men and women like me, a fire that will burn for years. To me, this will defend is not just a motto. It's a deeply personal mission about standing guard so that others don't have to. It's about facing the darkness that my children can live in the light. It's about honoring those who came before us, especially those who made the ultimate sacrifice by continuing to fight for freedom, justice, and peace. In the end, I serve not only as a soldier, but as a protector of dreams of families and of a future that is worth defending. And every day I wear this uniform, I do so with pride, unwavering resolve, and because this will defend. So I had to pass that on because it struck me, and if that doesn't inspire you. So that's me. That's not marketing. It's not a soundbite. That's a father, a soldier, and a leader out there in the dust doing the work right now. That's the heartbeat of our Army, and that's why we must never forget the cost of freedoms we enjoy. So, Greater Palm Bay Chamber of Commerce, thank you for your steadfast support of the Association of the United States Army Space Coast Chapter. Your partnership enhances the crucial bond between our military community and the citizens we serve. Happy birthday, happy 250th birthday to the United States Army, and always, this will defend right to the brand.